Hey everybody, I'm Prowl, and I wanted to put some concerns to rest today. And that is that a lot of people think that Hytale is just some like combat game because that's a lot of like the recent footage that's been put out. And I needed to dispel that myth. And what I wanted to do is just show you how in many ways Hytale is a like cozy gameplay vibe type of game, probably more so than Minecraft is, at least in certain ways. So I got a list of things here that I'm going to go over with you. I have screenshots to show you. I have some Twitter posts from Simon, the owner of Hytale, to show you as well, just to kind of back all of this up. And I wanted to educate or inform you why and how Hytale's more than just a combat game. If in fact, if you don't want to interact or engage with that part of the game, very little if at all, you're likely going to be able to do that. And you're going to be happy doing that with all of these features that I'm going to talk about. Now, in case you didn't know, Hytale did just go on pre-sale on December 13th, which is 2 days ago from when I'm recording this. So you can go and purchase the game. I have a video that shows you everything you need to know before you buy. So go check that out, and that'll help you decide if you want to buy now or wait till later or whatever. And if you do decide to purchase Hytale, make sure you use my creator code PROWL8413 when you purchase. It doesn't cost you anything to do that, and it helps support me in making more Hytale content. So if you would use it, I would definitely appreciate it. So I have a lot of bullet points that I'm going to go over here, and I have a lot of like accompanying documents to kind of go along with it to kind of help show you what I'm talking about. So my first point here is that, Hytale, like I said earlier, it's not just a combat fighting adventure game. It has a lot of that, and it does that side of the game really, really, really good. But there's a lot more to Hytale than just that. So first of all, let me show you this message here where Simon talks about cozy gameplay. He says, in Hytale, if you're a cozy player who enjoys farming, building a cute home, caring for animals, cooking, and simply wants to escape the real world, we've got you covered. We're now assembling a dedicated team focused entirely on bringing this vibe to life and creating a living world filled with warmth, charm, and good vibes. So this post was probably a week and a half, 2 weeks ago that this was done. So they do have a team in place for the cozy part of the game. And that's kind of what we're going to go over is I'm going to detail what those different categories are and what we know about them so far, or what direction to me it sounds like they may be going in or could possibly go in. Now, it is important to know that the game goes into early access launch on January 13th. That's when you're going to be able to play Hytale for the first time. And it is for PC only for now. It will come to console later and possibly mobile a little bit later than that. But I just wanted to make sure you understood that in case you're watching and you're only a console gamer. They will get to you, but we're just in the PC phase currently. But what I wanted to say is that a lot of these features that I'm going to talk about and show you, a lot of them are only going to be implemented in their simplest forms in the very beginning at early access launch. Maybe some of them might not be in the game at all yet, and I'll kind of detail that as I go through. But I just want you to know that if you hop in, you buy the game today and expect on January 13th to get in and you have this full suite of a bunch of completed systems, that's not quite the state the game is in yet. Now, a good thing though is that since we are so early, that there's a lot still to get done, and the game is going to get shaped as we go through these next couple of years. Now, the Hytale team and Simon, specifically the owner of Hytale, they take a lot of feedback and suggestions. I've literally seen them see a feedback video of something that makes a really good point or idea, and Simon, an hour or 2 hours later, is tweeting a picture of that idea implemented in the game already. So if the cozy vibes or some of these systems that I talk about, if you have some really cool ideas for those things, you can drop them down in the comments below. I'll try to bring them up, or you can try to interact more directly with the team on Twitter or in their Discord server to try to get your ideas out there. And if it's good enough, odds are it might rise to the top and they may implement the thing that you suggest. So that's a really cool part of starting this early in the process for a lot of these systems. They're not set in stone yet. They're very changeable. Now, the categories that I'm going to go over with you today are farming, fishing, cooking, resource collecting, pets, building, decorations, and automation. These are all of the categories that I could kind of think of when I think of cozy gameplay. And odds are, if you're a cozy gameplay enjoyer, really, even if you're not, really, if you're more an adventurer, odds are some of these systems you're going to want to interact with and you're going to have fun with outside of just going out and fighting stuff. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk to you about is farming. There is a huge assortment of crops. I can't sit here and name them all to you, but I have some screenshots where I can show you a few. Such as in this screenshot, it looks like we have some type of like flour thing that you could collect: wheat, cotton, peppers, tomatoes, pumpkins. These are eggplants, I believe. I don't know what these are, and this may be like cabbage. And we have corn over here. There's berries. We've also seen other crops exist as well. Maybe I have them in one of my other screenshots. Let me check. These, I don't know what these are, but they do look a little bit different. And I think we've seen or heard of things like carrots. Potatoes are probably a thing too. There's mushrooms. There's a lot of different types of foods and crops and things like that that you're going to probably want to grow, to use for some things that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. Also, I want to talk about the other part of farming too, which is not just the crop side of things, but also the animal side of things too. This is something that we don't really know a whole lot of yet, but we do have evidence of it existing, right? So we have this screenshot of a chicken and some little baby chicks coming out of a little chicken coop. So this could indicate that we're going to be able to farm eggs, or of course farm chicken to eat as well. Here's a turkey. Turkeys are, domesticatable, I guess. So we could possibly farm them for food too, as a different food source. Here's another screenshot. There we go. There's the carrots right here. Again, I don't know what a lot of these different things are. We got seeds. Maybe these are part of the eggplants. And again, there's likely going to be other things that really just haven't been shown yet that are going to exist. When I go back to this screenshot, you're going to see kind of how that cozy vibe with farming is going to come together. You have the big wheat field laid out where you can go and harvest your wheat, and the farming mechanic itself is going to be quite expansive as well. We've seen screenshots of a character with a watering can watering the crops, and I can imagine a system kind of like Stardew Valley where, maybe watering your crops is necessary. Maybe it's not, but it speeds things up. But if we go the route of Stardew Valley, we may see things like sprinkler systems come into play that will automatically water things for us. I think those types of things are really fun myself because it gives you something extra to do. You strive to get the sprinklers, you get the stuff for them, and you craft them, and maybe you have to hook them up or something, and you set them in the right locations, and they water your crops automatically. Something like that's really fun. You also see in this screenshot right here, there's a scarecrow. I don't know if there's an indication of if scarecrows are necessary or not, but if they are, that could be another interesting mechanic as well, where if you don't have something up to stop birds, crows, or whatever from coming into your fields to pick at your crops, maybe you get a slightly less yield than if you do include those things. So just another potential mechanic we may see that comes along with the farming side of the game. Now, on top of that, food will likely offer unique buffs of some type. And so far, there's no hunger system in the game. So depending on what game that you're coming from, like myself, if you're coming from Minecraft, you're used to a hunger system being there, and that kind of being the sole reason to eat. And you might have a different opinion on this than me, and that's fine if you do. I think it's quite boring because really all you do is you try to find whatever food is the one that takes care of your hunger the most, and then you just take up a hotbar slot with that food and you just eat it whenever your hunger bar goes down. It's a kind of boring mechanic. It doesn't really serve a purpose per se. It just kind of is there as a chore to do. So we're going to talk about cooking a little bit later as part of this. But food generally is likely going to give you some type of buffs. Currently in the game, that buff is really just like a short-term health regeneration, but longer term, Simon and team have talked about a wider array of buffs that we will potentially get from these different foods that do different things. If you've played a game like Stardew Valley has it in there a little bit. I recommend you Google or you YouTube a game called Core Keeper. They have a really interesting food buff system, so I could see them maybe going something like that route too. I won't sit here and explain that system to you, but it's really in-depth and expansive and gives a use and purpose for all different foods and really opens up their cooking system as well. And I guess lastly is when it comes to farming, when I look at big farmland like we saw with this screenshot right here, there's really a lot that could occur with farming mechanics that could make farming really fun and interesting, and something that's fun to optimize. So you could think of things like growing crops in rows that are alternating will make them grow faster. Maybe rotating your crops in terms of what patches of soil they're growing on could possibly speed up their growth. Maybe there are fertilizers that exist in the game. We've seen some hints of that with animal poop. Yes, the game does have poop, where you bag it up. So there may be a fertilizer system that you can do that will get you higher yields or possibly grow the crops faster. And who knows what we'll potentially have for harvesting. We don't really know. Do you just have to hand pick everything? Will there be NPCs that can like get the crops for you? Spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later too. Or will we potentially have some type of machines that can help us do it and automate the process as well? So a lot of those questions are yet to be answered, but are things that are definitely possible and have been hinted to in some way, shape, or form by the team. So before we talk about cooking, I wanted to talk about fishing a little bit, because I think fishing can kind of go into cooking too, obviously, because it is another type of food. So first of all, little has really been spoken about it, but we do know that fishing will exist and have some depth to it. I was able to pull these screenshots up. Astra asks, is fishing in the game right now? Do we know? And Simon did say no. Might be able to add trap fishing to compensate having none in the meantime and work on proper fishing after launch. And then mine asked, honestly, would be worth spending extra time on it to really make sure it's a hit and not something you feel forced to do. And then Simon responded, I kind of want to have everything in a state of version 1 so we have a cohesive game as soon as possible and level up the experience with updates as we go. We'll see. So essentially, when we go back to this post about trap fishing, that's a stopgap to, hey, let's like get some kind of fish in the game early. Like this is the simplest way we can do it. And then we're going to work towards a more expansive fishing mechanic after that. This is all that I've seen spoken about when it comes to fishing. So anything beyond this will just be kind of speculative, or what they could do or what we could suggest that they do. But obviously, if we go into a cooking system, you're going to get different types of recipes and buffs for different types of fish. So that could be pretty cool. They could go as far as having different fish being available in different zones. A lot of games do this, again, including Stardew. That's the one I'm most familiar with that I've played. Another obvious one is to have different fishing rods, fishing hooks, different types of baits that are good at different types of things. That could get either really complex, or it could be kept really simple to where there's a few different options and combinations that you can do to more optimally catch fish, or as a form of progression system to where you can progress to these better rods, hooks, and baits just to be able to catch bigger, better fish faster, or maybe even treasures while you're fishing. And then the last idea is, and I'm kind of curious on you guys, you let me know down in the comments below, do you like fishing mini games? I know Stardew has one, for example, where you kind of have to keep the bar in the middle of the thing to catch the fish. That could be something that they do as well. Maybe they implement it in a way, because I know not everybody likes it. Maybe they could implement it in a way to where you can still fish without playing the mini game part. Maybe you could just skip it completely. But if you do the mini game part, you are more likely to catch a better fish or a better treasure or loot or prize when you cast your rod. There's a lot of things they could do with that to cater to both sides of things. Let me know how you feel about that down below. Let's talk about cooking a little bit now. I don't have a lot of bullet points here, but this is probably going to be a pretty big one. And I think this is one that's important because it kind of makes the fishing and the growing of crops important, right? I mentioned Minecraft earlier, where, at least for me in Minecraft, you either get like cooked steak or you get golden carrots, and that's just your food. You don't really need to touch any of the other ones. So when you don't have an expansive food and cooking system, it kind of makes all the foods kind of worthless to get and pointless, and it kind of takes that away from the game. So they will have a basic version at early access launch or shortly after. And here's what I was able to pull up on this. So first of all, Lee here says, I'm really curious if there's any info on cooking systems or decorative food items. The rest of this is unrelated to food, so I'll skip ahead to Simon saying, there was no cooking system really, so we are making one version 1 at the moment. We will have a dedicated team for cozy life skills like this, plus farming and other life skills. There you go, that cozy team is going to be working on this. Next, Serdar says, We need hunger mechanic in order to make cooking and farming useful. What will cozy players do with all those stuffs otherwise? And this is where Simon kind of iterates on what I said earlier. Food can be way more interesting than a simple hunger system. In the long term, we will explore mixing ingredients for food that give unique buffs. Use activity-based meals like a mining stew for faster swings, prep combat meals, feed NPC villages, get quality system tied with bonuses, or build food mastery. Extra food isn't wasted when it fuels buffs, NPC exchange, or NPC reputation. There are tons of ways to avoid hunger mechanics, to be honest. Not saying no hunger ever, but I would like to explore some ideas first. At the moment, it's a buff mechanic a bit like Valheim, stamina/XP max and regen buff for X amount of time. So this right here is really packed with a lot of information that we should break down. So food giving unique buffs, mixing ingredients, that's cooking, right? You can maybe discover recipes somehow, whether it be just experimenting at a cooking station or unlocking recipes at a cooking station, or maybe finding recipes around your world when you open chests and kill mobs and things like that. Maybe they drop a recipe that you can learn. There's a lot of different ways they can include that, but having a mixed ingredient recipes is really cool, because that means we're going to have a more complex cooking system than just put the food in the oven and get the food out. And here he's kind of giving his ideas of what some of these uses may be. So activity-based meals. So if you're going mining, a mining stew may make you swing your pickaxe a lot faster or dig a lot faster. You could have combat meals that would maybe do different things. Maybe some are better for offense, some are better for defense, some are better for dodging attacks. There's a lot of different varieties that could happen there. And here's where we really start to get interesting, and it's something I'm going to talk about a little bit later too with automation, but feed NPC villages. So you could feed NPCs. He mentions down here too, extra food isn't wasted when it fuels buffs, NPC exchange, or NPC reputation. So you could use food to improve reputation with different NPC factions. There's going to be several factions in Hytale. Or exchange, meaning you give them a food and they do something for you in exchange for that food. So that could be really cool. And lastly, when we talk progression, a quality system. So maybe some type of recipe that you cook up has different qualities in which you can make it that increase or decrease how much of a buff it gives you. And to get better quality foods, you might have to level up your cooking mastery. He mentioned cooking mastery at one point. So you may have to cook more and more to get a higher mastery to cook higher quality foods, or maybe that mastery just comes from leveling up a different cooking workstation. We'll have to see how that works. But what we're talking about here is a very complex system that's going to give a lot of purpose behind cozy gameplay. When we go back and talk about the farming that exists in the game, farming is fine to do just for fun, but it's a lot more fun to do when there's a purpose and a reason behind it. Now, in case you're wondering, Commutadad says, but won't potions serve the same purpose? Because we do know there's potions in the game. Wouldn't it be easier to leave that function to the potions and incorporate hunger into the game? Simon says potions can be used for insta or short duration for combat emergencies. So the potion system that exists in the game, which by the way, I didn't include this as one of our cozy features. Potion brewing is kind of a cozy feature too, so you will have that. But potions are meant for short bursts of high effectiveness. I need a big heal right now. I want a big attack boost for the next 20 seconds type of a thing. Whereas food is more of a pre-planned thing. I'm going into this situation to do this thing. I'm going to eat this food to give me a longer term buff to handle doing this activity for me. And then in emergency style situations, I will use a potion to supplement that or get me out of a bad situation. Now, in case you're worried about food a little bit, Darzex was here too. He said, pretty amazing. Putting aside hunger existing or not, please be careful with this. I don't think I've seen a singular game that makes food that engaging a mechanic. Making it too buff heavy would kind of take the fun out of what is an incredibly warm IRL activity. Needs innovation. And Simon said, yep, you were right. And I do agree with that. If you make it too necessary, then people that don't want to engage with it won't like it. Or you're going to feel like every single thing you do, you have to do a whole bunch of food, cooking related stuff. And that could be kind of annoying. You want it to give you a benefit, but you don't want it to dominate the game. And then lastly, we don't really need to go over this one, but Go said this mean we'll have masteries. And Simon said, right now, there's not much fun about cooking in Hytale. We will explore tons of concepts in the coming months. While in early access, modders will probably give us plenty of ideas. They are open to taking ideas from modders, possibly even hiring modders to take care of specific systems for them if they show they can do a good job at it. Okay, next let's talk about resource collecting. This is one of my favorite cozy things to do. I'm sure a lot of you guys fall into this category as well. So I don't really have a lot to show you or tell you in this part. I can just go by what little bit I've seen in game footage, a little bit that I've heard, and kind of speculate forward a little bit of that. So we have seen in game footage that when you chop down a tree, the entire tree crumbles and falls down. So it makes collecting wood a little bit less of a chore and a little bit more of a, I guess, more beneficial task to do. They haven't really fully balanced the wood chopping yet, like, you know, how much durability it takes from your axe or how long it takes to chop the tree down. So we'll see how that plays out, but that's something I noticed. Another thing is there's a really large variety of block types in the game. There's probably like 4 or 5 times the amount of different types of blocks that I feel like I've seen in Hytale versus something like Minecraft. So with a lot of blocks out there to get, that's a lot more potential for you to go out and collect a lot of resources. You know, we'll have to see what different methods we have to get these blocks. Is it only physical, going to location and getting them, or will there maybe be some ways to automatically farm some of them? You know, who knows? But there's that. Another thing that I'll say that I didn't include in here. Oh, I did. It's my last point. I'm going to include it now, though. Block sounds. This is something that I know Minecraft has got really good, and from what we've seen and heard of Hytale footage, it looks like their sound design is excellent as well. So just little things like the satisfaction of walking on different types of blocks, making different types of sounds, placing blocks, making different sounds, breaking different types of blocks, making different types of sounds. These things are little like micro pleasures, like they're little things that you don't really think about all the time, but really add together to like put this whole experience together. It seems so far like Hytale does that really well. Also, another thing we've seen in Hytale a lot is large varied caves. So different zones in Hytale have different types of caves in them. And those different types of caves are likely to have different tiers of ores. So if you like caving for ores and other valuable stuff, if that's a fun, cozy thing for you to do, you're going to have plenty of that in Hytale to do. Next, another system that a lot of people wanted to know a lot about is pets. I have this tweet here to show you. Alex Sato said, I hope that the mechanics of pet domestication are very unique, such as petting them, putting cosmetics on their clothes, playing with them, and having interaction, whether with cats or dogs. That would be incredible to see, and of course, giving the pet a name. Simon did say none of this exists, but will eventually exist. So we can likely expect some sort of pet system that likely gives us ways to take care of our pets in some way. Who knows how consequential those decisions will be? Will it just be for fun, interaction, or will you have any benefit to doing things to take care of your pets? You know, building them a little house or feeding them, watering them, whatever, petting them, etc., playing with them. We'll have to see, but there will be some type of pet system in the game. As far as what types of pets might exist, we don't really know, but there's horses in the game. So obviously a horse can be a pet. We've seen this one picture of a dog. Don't know if there's other dog types in the game yet or varieties, but dogs do exist in the game. I don't know that we've seen cats, maybe, but maybe not. Here's an interesting, cute photo of a dog riding a turtle. Can the turtle be a pet? I mean, I kind of feel like the turtle could be a pet. The dog's riding it, so that's really cool too. So you do have a few things to potentially look forward to for pets. A big one I know for a lot of people is going to be building. Everybody wants to build really cool, awesome, amazing things. So I'm not going to go over the creative mode side of building. There's a whole video on that 30-minute video you can watch. They're creative mode tools if you like pre-planning builds, or if you just like tinkering around in creative to build stuff. It is like out of this world phenomenal. It basically has functionality that includes stuff from every building-based Minecraft mod that you've ever seen and goes beyond those. So really neat. You definitely want to check out that video if you're interested in creative mode building. But in terms of survival building, we don't know a ton, but we do know a little bit. First of all, building or placing blocks will be position based. It's kind of like it is in Minecraft. You stand in different spots or different rotations. It could rotate the block around different ways. There's also going to be a button that you can press to rotate the block to. I believe it's just the R button. So you can potentially look at a block that I don't know if it's one you've just recently placed or before you've placed it, and rotate that block. So that way you don't have to do all of the weird moving around to do different things. So that's kind of cool. Another thing for builders is we could just carry more stuff in Hytale. You have one extra row of inventory slots compared to Minecraft. You have your hotbar plus 4 rows instead of your hotbar plus 3 rows like Minecraft does. So you can carry more blocks on you. There is also a vanilla like backpack system built in, so you'll be able to carry even more blocks than that. It should make building a little bit easier, going back and forth to chests a little less frequent. Another really good thing is you can climb blocks. If you jump, you can grab the ledge above you up to 4 blocks high and pull yourself up. So when building, you're probably going to find you're doing less scaffolding to get up. Who knows, they may have some other cool features for this as well. We'll have to see what they do. And one of those features could possibly be predictive block placement, where if you're looking at a block and then you put your crosshair above that block, the game knows, it'll give you a little outline or something. It knows that you want to place the block up there, and you can click the button to place the block above or to the side of another block without having to actually like put your cursor on a block face like you do in a game like Minecraft. So that could be really interesting, really nice as well. They haven't said anything about this, but I would be surprised if they don't implement something in due time. I think something like that will probably exist. Next, I want to talk about decorations a little bit. Obviously, a big part of cozy gameplay is there is a lot of indoor interior decor in the game. If you look at this picture right here, for example, you have a pie just sitting in the window in the background. So there we go, decorative food. You also have what looks like a salad or fruit salad or something, some salad-y type thing right here. You have an apple sitting on a shelf over here. This is some kind of pot with, I'm thinking, a plant on it. Different various like potter plants and bookshelves and some type of like organizer thing right here. So all those are really cool. You see a couple chandeliers. Chandeliers are really neat as well. Here's another screenshot where we have a workstation that has a hammer sitting on it. Here's your anvil. Look at this right here. We have, I don't know if this would be a workstation, part of a workstation, or it's probably decor, where you have a little thing to set weapons up as a decoration to look at. Here's like a potion that's sitting on a shelf, a bigger and a smaller potion right here, a cracked pot. This hanging shelf with chains is really neat. This might be a potion brewing workstation, I think. And there's a cat. We have evidence of a cat. They do exist. So a lot of really cool, cozy things to do in the game. Here's another one. This is a pot cooking on a stove, it looks like. So that's really neat. We have a cutting board. So there's so many decorative bits in this game that look really, really, really cool. So you will have to do a little bit less imaginative decorating like you do in a game like Minecraft, and you have a lot more built-in decorations for you to make the inside of your house feel more lived in and more homey. And the last thing I wanted to talk about here is automation. I know, at least for me, this is my cozy thing I like to do, and I imagine a lot of people are going to like the cozy vibe of automation as well. Let's just hop into the tweets that I have here. Nike said, "Hi Simon, as a Minecraft player who loves the technical side, automation, efficient farms, complex systems, I'm very curious about what Hytale will offer in that area. Since it's more RPG focused, do you plan to include technical or automation oriented mechanics?" And Simon did say, "Not yet. Much later after launch, because we are dealing a lot of missing core features. It's on the horizon though." Now, this is going to be a kind of theme that we see in a lot of the Twitter posts that I'm going to show you here. But here's some of your like points to know. Automation, Hytale states that it is important, but it is not in the game yet. They are not 100% sure what they are doing with automation. But Simon has said it's likely going to be a mix between NPC-based automation and machine-based automation, kind of like create mod for the machine side of things. Here's a post that kind of says that. So we have Jersey said, "I think you're underestimating the value of an automation system. It greatly enhances gameplay, replayability, and player creativity. It was one of the things I was most excited to see." Simon responds to that and said automation can be different than redstone, like the create mod. I believe the post prior to this one, Simon explicitly said redstone or a logic-based automation system will not exist in Hytale. Social Human said, won't there be a conduction system of any kind? Maybe copper wires or something? Can we make logic gates and computers in Hytale? Simon said, if someone makes a great mod like that, we could offer to hire them and buy their mod. Again, I don't know how expansive the modding system is going to be. Maybe it is very expansive and somebody makes a more logic-based type system. Maybe it's possible it gets into the game, or maybe somebody just makes a really cool create mod. Simon answered this in an interview that he did that I covered several videos back now, where he did say like, hey, like we're not focused on this right now, but if somebody in the community or a team comes up with a really good mod that handles automation in a way that they feel like can fit into vanilla Hytale, he may just go as far as hiring that person or that team to do it for them. They're not beyond doing that if the community creates something before they can get to it that they think will fit good into the game. And then lastly, I have a post here where Simon responded to me. I said the biggest worry I have about Hytale is how its game mechanics work along with what they give us to automate tasks. I'll love exploring, rating structures, and progressing, but it's the hours of building a farm to get a resource, then decorating it that makes me play for thousands of hours. I don't expect much or any of this to be an early access start, but I hope it's something that we will see a little more of every update that they do. Simon did respond to me saying, not much at launch, but I clearly understand exactly what you are talking about. Top priority. I said, if I can help in any way at this, let me know. It's what I did primarily in Minecraft for my 8 years of playing. And he said, sounds good. I don't know if he'll reach out to me or not, but the point of this is more, he understands the importance of it. He's seen it from a lot of people that they want it. So if automation is the most important or the only important thing to you, do not expect to get it early access launch. Probably don't expect to get it in the first few months, but at some point, likely long before full launch of the game years from now, you're going to get automation start to make its way into the game, and that will be an important part of the game. So I think that covers everything that I would consider cozy gameplay. If you have any questions about maybe things I didn't touch on or things that weren't clear, you can ask them down in the comments below. I highly recommend you join my community on Discord. It's discord.gg/prow8413. I talk a lot of Hytale in the Discord and would be glad to hear from you guys there. Also, if you enjoy these types of videos, if you're just a Hytale fan or you think you're going to be a Hytale fan, you can't wait to jump in, click like on the video here and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos that I put out. I'm putting out news videos for now, some explainer videos like this for now, and we'll be jumping headfirst into gameplay as soon as we can. Also, again, if you buy Hytale or you buy anything in the Hytale store when they have one in game later down the road, make sure you use code PROWL8413 to help support future content that I make. I would appreciate a whole lot if you do that. I thank you guys a lot for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.